Once upon a time, there was a young couple named Rob and Gail, who had just moved into a cool new apartment. Rob was hauling boxes inside while Gail explored their new digs. As she glanced around, she noticed a funky old refrigerator sitting in the corner. It was a relic left behind by the previous tenant, and it immediately caught her attention. Curiosity piqued. Rob joined Gail to take a closer look at the peculiar appliance. With a hint of humor in his voice, he pointed out, "Hey babe, check this out. The motor is on top instead of underneath like the fridges we see nowadays. Who'd want the hot air rising up the fridge? It's like they're trying to mess with us." Gail, not as fascinated by the fridge as Rob was, had other plans in mind. She interrupted him, asking if he wanted a glass of wine to celebrate their new place. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he agreed, putting the fridge on the back burner for the time being. Rob opened the old fridge to grab some ice for their drinks. To his surprise, the freezer was packed with frost. Undeterred, he managed to scrape off a tiny ice cube, and they clinked glasses in a toast to their new adventure. As Rob was about to take a sip, he noticed something peculiar in his glass. He fished it out and held it up for Gail to see. They both gasped in astonishment. Inside the ice cube was a miniature mammoth, complete with little spears sticking out of its body. Intrigued by their discovery, they grabbed a magnifying glass and examined the frozen artifact more closely. To their amazement, when they peered inside the freezer, they discovered an entire medieval city in miniature form. The little people inside the city went about their lives, oblivious to the giants observing them. Gail, always the curious one, added some historical context. She said, "Rob, this city is from the early medieval period, but woolly mammoths were long gone by then. It doesn't make any sense." Rob, being the practical guy, decided to bury the frozen mammoth in a pot of dirt, joking that it might make for fantastic fertilizer. Gail chuckled, lightening the mood. As they stood there, still in disbelief, they couldn't help but be amazed by the secrets their old refrigerator held. After discovering the modernized city inside, they witnessed the Industrial Revolution and the rapid progress of technology. However, their amazement turns to shock and horror as they witness a missile falling into the miniature city and exploding, causing Rob to panic and believe that tactical nukes are exploding in the freezer. Gail calms him down, but they hear the sounds of war and destruction emanating from the tiny city. The couple closes the freezer, realizing that the miniature people cannot possibly outgrow war in just a few minutes. Despite the surreal events unfolding before them, Gail seems to take things in stride and suggests that they order pizza for dinner while they wait for the situation in the freezer to calm down. Rob, on the other hand, seems more affected by what he has witnessed, groaning at the idea of sitting down to eat after seeing such destruction. After an hour has passed, Rob suggests they check the freezer to see if the miniature people have rebuilt their city. Gail warns him to prepare for the possibility that they didn't survive, but Rob goes ahead and opens the freezer anyway. They are stunned to find the inside of the freezer glowing with luminescent cities and flying cars. Gail compares the futuristic city to the Emerald City, but with more advanced technology and fewer emeralds. Rob is thrilled with the beauty of the miniature city, and suddenly a building appears right in front of them. Rob jokes that it looks like an adult toy, but then everything escalates when a massive pyramid emerges in the center of the futuristic city. The pyramid glows brightly and begins to consume power from the bridges attached to it. Eventually, the pyramid turns into a diamond-shaped fortress, swallowing the entire city until it explodes into a ball of energy. The explosion is so massive that it fills Rob and Gail's kitchen with light, and they are both fascinated by the sight. During this period, it appears that the miniature people have figured out the secrets of time and space travel. After the explosion, streaks of light zoom around the kitchen, filling their apartment with wondrous light. Then, the light returns to the freezer and gathers into a sphere before disappearing. Rob and Gail are confused and sad that the miniature people may never return. Rob sadly pulls the refrigerator's plug, accepting that the tiny civilization is likely gone forever. Gail hugs him in comfort, and they both decide to call it a day and close the freezer. The next day, Rob pours coffee for Gail and himself, and they both silently wonder about the miniature civilization inside the freezer. They decide to open the freezer again, hoping that the miniature people are still alive. To their surprise, they find cold mist pouring out of the freezer, and inside, they witness another ice age where primitive sapiens are consuming the carcass of a mighty brachiosaurus. After witnessing the frozen ice age with primitive sapiens and dinosaurs in the freezer, Rob and Gail are left wondering about the purpose and creator of this pocket universe. They contemplate if it's a representation of the end of the world, or if the miniature humans have found a new dimension to exist in. The couple is uncertain if this cycle of life has played out in the freezer many times before, or if it's always the same. They speculate that the previous owners may have gotten bored with it, leaving it behind. That brings us to the conclusion of the episode titled Ice Age, from the series Love, Death, and Robots. Hope you liked the video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until I meet you with another awesome video, stay tuned and enjoy your day.